Owens had to say. Let's check this out real quick, because Kid Rock, who has been getting dragged nonstop for his Turning Point USA performance.
No one explained to Kid Rock when you lip sync, you hold the microphone up to your mouth. He only performed for like 1 minute and he was rocking a fedora and jorts at the same time.
With the 40s and the chicks with beepers, the northern lights and the southern comfort.
Had the nerve, the audacity to speak on Bad Bunny not being a good fit for the Super Bowl. Okay, not only that, he tried to call out Jay-Z. So this is interesting. Check this out.
All right, I'd be remiss in not asking you, what'd you think of Bad Bunny? I know you didn't see all of it, but you saw some clips.
Like most people, I didn't understand any of it. I mean, I saw there's a lot of dancers and a lot of big to-do stuff, and you know, he said he wanted to have a dance party. It looked like he had one. Not my cup of tea, but I don't fault that kid for, doing the Super Bowl, getting in front of a global audience. I fault the NFL for putting him in that position, and Turning Point for having to come out and have an alternative for people to watch. It's just poor kid.
Poor rich kid.
Poor rich kid.
Very, very diplomatic.
I think he's
Bobby.
doing all right.
Yeah, I think he's doing pretty well, Bobby.
So he goes like, well, maybe Jay-Z will do it, which nothing against Jay-Z. I respect him for his hustle and, his music. But it seems like there's a little bit of a DEI hire there going on, to kind of like, black guys love Jay-Z. And of course, I'm not that ignorant. I know a lot of us love Jay-Z, not just black guys. But in the league where he had this problem, it seemed like, we'll bring him in. And so, Jay-Z's not going to take that position of power and that money. So, then they convened in a not for profit league until, they quietly got rid of that tax exempt status at some point. So Roger did not have to disclose his salary, so he had all sorts of problems. So he brings in Jay-Z.
I'm sorry, but no one should be taking any musical opinions from Kid Rock. Okay, especially after that nonsense he did at Turning Point USA. But anyway, I cannot believe my eyes and ears right now, because Nick Fuentes is actually down talking his own white nationalist crowd. Okay, so he's actually agreeing with the left while calling his people out. So Nick gave his take on the Super Bowl and said that he actually liked the halftime show. And on top of that, he admitted he was embarrassed watching Turning Point USA bring Kid Rock out. I never thought I would see the day where Nick Fuentes is calling out how cringe these people are. But check this out.
Even a grape sent $20. The halftime show was in Spanish and all the performers were brown people. The message was, this is what America looks like, a mosaic of Latin peoples. Clearly it was political. Clearly it was a middle finger to white people. Weird take. Are you even a white nationalist at this point?
Honestly, I don't feel like one anymore. I feel like, do I want America to be a white country? Yes. I'm pro-white, but the movement has just been captured by losers and idiots.
But let's be honest. The Bad Bunny halftime show, let's be perfectly honest, it wasn't a militantly woke show. It just wasn't. The way that conservatives were talking about it, I thought it was going to be Drag Queen Story Hour. The way that conservatives were fear-mongering and creating this anxiety about this halftime show, they're like, it's going to be an anti-ICE, anti-Trump. They're going to burn the American flag. He's going to be cross-dressing. It's not what it was. And let's take a step back and not look at it through the lens of being a chud that is obsessed with politics. Let's take a step back and look at it through the eyes of a normie. It's like a Latino-themed show. It's like a different theme. And yeah, it's in Spanish, got it. And yeah, it's very Puerto Rican, it's very Latin. But if I'm a normie and I'm watching this, it's basically just an inoffensive, Latin-themed show. And it's not really that political. Obviously, there's a political subtext, and we can get into that. the significance of it is not lost on anybody, that in the middle of this ICE thing, in the middle of the mass deportations and the phenomenon of ICE removals, which heavily target Hispanics, the significance is not lost on anybody that you have this celebration of Latin America and it's in Spanish. And we know this artist's politics, this Bad Bunny character. I don't think any white Americans know who he is, listen to him. This is an artist for Latin Americans in the United States, outside the United States. And so to have this guy, and also we know his politics in particular, he said fuck ICE at the Grammys and all that. And then at the end, he comes out with all the different flags from Latin America. Love triumphs over hate. Of course, there is a subtext. I understand that. But if you step outside of yourself as a chud that, like I said, you're obsessed with politics, and you go into the big social outing of the year, the Super Bowl watch party, and you can't stop thinking about politics and Trump and, you know, this kind of stuff. If you're a normie and you're watching it, it's basically inoffensive. It's not explicitly political. It's implicitly political. It's not actually antagonistic. I didn't feel, and I say this as a right-wing white American, as really a far-right white nationalist, the greatest Super Bowl halftime show of the 21st century. I thought it was great. I understood every word. I don't know what everybody was complaining about. People said, I can't understand a word of the Super Bowl halftime show. This is ours. This is America. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I understood every word he said. We can't talk about it without also discussing the Kid Rock thing that was going on somewhere else. What the fuck was that? I mean, if that's the best we have to offer, honestly, I'm switching sides. If that's... Seriously. They said this is the all-American halftime show. God, family, and it's like, okay, if that's the all-American halftime show, I don't know, guys. We're losing them. You know, we got to come up with something better because that was a tough watch. If it is a requirement to pretend to like that, to be like a patriot, like I can't do it. I'm just telling you up front. I'm going to be honest with you. Full disclosure, I can't do it. I think I'd rather kill myself than pretend to like that. So you're telling me we're at the Super Bowl party with the normies, with the hoes, with the chuds and the fests. We're at the Super Bowl watch party. We're having our taquitos. We're having our wings, pizza, watching the big game. Everybody's having a good time. You're telling me we have to turn off the TV or we have to switch the input. We have to go to the Rumble app and watch some AI ad about like alternative medicine. And then we have to watch Kid Rock and this like generic country music. And we have to pretend to like this. We have to all be like, this is really good. She's really good. I'm not doing it. I can't do it. It sucks. And, not for nothing. Didn't we do this for the RNC? Isn't this just like our token celebrity? Didn't Kid Rock play the RNC? It's just like a freak show. It's like Amber Rose was there last year at the 2 years ago at the RNC. Kid Rock. And I'm watching the show. I actually watch it this afternoon, and I'm like, yeah, this is kind of like maybe a section of what we're about that is kind of going away, and maybe there's no bringing it back. I don't know. Is there anything kind of worth hanging on to there? It's kind of a rough thing.
So that's what he had to say. He went straight to the point. He got many people on the right upset with him, especially MAGA. You should see them in the comments saying, wow, he's turning on us. Can't believe he'll say this. It's ridiculous. Now, even Candace Owens is saying she liked the performance. So many people were shocked and they appreciated, her take on it, because most of the times these people are just biased. So the fact that they're actually being fair is a good look. Nobody is forced to like Bad Bunny's halftime show. I'm not saying that, because taste is subjective. But at least be fair. At least admit this man is creative. Okay, the production was strong and the set design was one of the best I have seen in a long time. Okay, the setup was amazing. But let's get into what she had to say.
I am not, nor have I ever been, a conservative stereotype when it comes to the Super Bowl halftime performance. I feel like it's a bit of a fad now. On the right, you watch the Super Bowl for the sole purpose of complaining about the halftime performance and why it didn't live up to what you think that it should be. I notoriously defended Rihanna back in 2023 when she was literally just wearing red, and conservatives made it seem like she was trying to channel the devil. She was actually pregnant and wasn't even moving around that much. I'm also a Shakira stan, so I thought her and J-Lo had a fun halftime performance. I'm not really one of these people who are naturally averse to culture. I also like and listen to Spanish music, as you guys know. Mark Anthony, that's why I had to come out for my boy. When they were saying stuff about him and what he did at a wedding after 11 p.m. No, he should not be responsible for that as a Latino man. I like the old school stuff, Aventura, the old Mark Anthony music. Hasta ayer, hasta ayer. I grew up listening to all of it. So when Bad Bunny was announced for the Super Bowl, I was like, okay, let's see what he does. I do not know one Bad Bunny song. I'm going to be honest. I've been very clear with you guys. I am not cool or hip anymore, just like I don't know any of Sabrina Carpenter's music. I'm not trying to stay up with the culture, but I know enough to know that he's very popular. Okay. Now, the pros of his performance, I'm going to say something good about it. I actually thought the set design was really cool. It was one of the cooler ones that I've seen in a very long time. I loved that it looked like a little pueblo, a little Spanish town, that the mercado, the bodega. And to be clear, I think it felt obviously very authentic to him and how he grew up, but not just to him and how he grew up, but also in America. If you guys don't know that, this is how a lot, that looks familiar to me and the way that I grew up. The corner bodega, it's a real thing. And I thought very obviously that that's what he was trying to convey, is his own experience, because that's what artists do. And by the way, like I said, all around the United States, these communities exist. The performers and the dancers did a very great job. You could tell that they rehearsed a lot. They were not just winging it. And I actually quite enjoyed the little electrical line thing that they were doing. I thought it was clever and it was fun. Now, the downside is that it was not in English. It was not in English. And therefore, the audience could not emotionally connect. If you were not a Spanish speaker, you could not emotionally connect to that performance. It was really all in Spanish, save for Lady Gaga's portion when she was sort of doing the bad salsa, which was very American. She wasn't exactly hips don't lie. And I was like, okay, now, is that Bad Bunny's fault? Obviously not, because he was booked. And he is very clear. English is his second language. If you watch his interviews, he kind of speaks Spanglish. He's learning more English now. His music is exclusively in Spanish. So the expectation, who are you actually upset with for booking this performance? I agree that it would be nice to have an English-speaking halftime. That makes sense, because everyone actually in America should speak English. But he didn't book himself, okay? Actually, I looked into it. The person that controls who gets to perform at the halftime is Jay-Z for some reason. Jay-Z in partnership with the NFL. Jay-Z doesn't speak Spanish, but Jay-Z booked him. And for performance, well, we'll just look at the raw numbers here. Nielsen estimates that 128 million people watched the Super Bowl game last night, forgetting the halftime performance. That number increased to 135 million viewers during the halftime performance. So people got up and were like, I don't want to watch I'm not watching the whole Super Bowl match, but I'm going to go ahead and tune in to the halftime performance, because people are always outraged the next morning and I want to know what they're speaking about. So 7 million more people began tuning in to watch the halftime performance, according to the early reports. So Bad Bunny, objectively, whether you like him or not, he had a successful Super Bowl halftime performance in terms of the metrics.
So it's nice to see people like Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes giving fair criticism instead of just lying and pushing some type of agenda, you know? Hit the like button for me, and I'll see you guys in my next video.